I practice meditation and self-inquiry a lot, and I've experienced expandedness and satori. Yet I cannot feel your presence in satsang. What am I doing wrong?
Get closer. My whole thing when I was a seeker was to be as close to my teachers as I could possibly get. When I was with Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh in the 80s, you just couldn't get close. If you got within 50 metres of him, you were lucky. There were so many people. When I was at the ranch in 84 and 85, there was 20,000 people around him and armed guards. But I got as close as I could. I got a press card from the New York Bulletin, which allowed me to get relatively close to him, because I was a journalist. When the Advaita Vedanta teachers came to town, I ran into them in 98, and man, I could feel the presence, and I just wanted to be as close as I could. And so the first teacher who came to town was Isaac Shapiro, and I went down to Denmark, south of Perth, and waited for him to come into the auditorium with maybe a couple of hundred other people. The moment he came in, I found myself as the universe. All that was required was his energy field. The very next morning at 6 o'clock, I was on his doorstep, banging on the door, being asked to leave by the people who lived there. But he came out and he spoke to me. And the fire for enlightenment inside of me was so great, I would do anything for it. And over the next year, and with another 3 teachers, every time someone came to town, I'd get as close as I possibly could, because I knew the energy field that they were emitting was burning the false. It was like stepping into the holy fire, and everything that was false was burning. And I was absolutely willing to have that occur. If you can't feel the presence, get closer. It will burn you. Whether you know it or not, it'll burn you.
With getting close to you, is that just a physical thing? Or is there like an energetic element to it as well?
If you tune in, if you have the ability to tune in, you don't need to be close. So when Isaac was holding satsangs in Byron Bay, which is about 5,000 kilometres from here, he held them about 7:30 at night time, which is about 4:30 here. I'd go into beingness because I'd be tuned in. And so you learn the frequency, and once you learn the frequency, you can tune into it. It's like a radio. And I just go into beingness for the whole hour or 2 hours, however he held satsang for, every day that he was holding it. And when he came to Perth, I used to host him, and he used to stay in my house. And I used to sit very close to the wall that he was in because I could feel it. It was taking me apart. It was expanding me. It was brilliant. But you've got to be willing to be destroyed. But only the false gets destroyed. Nothing real gets destroyed. Only the false. All the rubbish you're carrying gets burnt. If you resist it, you'll suffer incredibly. If you don't resist it, it's bliss.
If you tune in when in your presence.
He just came a little bit closer. Did you see that? Yeah, because you can feel it. It's obvious to you. You haven't learned yet, you haven't fine-tuned your own gauge on how to find it. At one point, while I was still a seeker, if an awake person landed at the airport at Perth, I'd feel it. I was so tuned in to that energy field. I would start expanding, and I knew that that's what had happened. Someone had landed.
Is it a matter of like slowing down inside as well? Being able to tune.
Well, the energy world's different than the world of thinking. The energy world's real. And so when we're thinking, our awareness is on thinking and we're distracted by it. If we really want to listen to anything, we shut up. If we want to listen to the frogs outside, we shut up. If we're talking in our heads, we're actually putting a filter over what we're hearing. We're missing things. And when tuning into any form of energy, you really want to tune in, you shut up. You be quiet. And just tune in.
It's so easy to let go when I can tune in.
What
not
about
in my head.
What about right now?
Right now is good.
What's good mean?
Right now there's nothing happening.
If you tune in, the mind stops. It's one of the things I loved about tuning into my teachers. My mind would go silent. I'd find peace.
Yes.
And I loved that peace.